Hey, it's Vanessa, the Crafty Gemini, and I post weekly crafting and cooking videos here on YouTube. This week I'm back with a tutorial on how to make a cupcake mug rug. This is a cute little mug rug. If you don't know what a mug rug is, it's basically a little placemat for you to place on your desk or a table, for you to place your mug, and then sometimes you'll see pictures taken where people have a little cupcake, a Danish, or something that they're eating, a little snack, and they can basically place it right on top of the little mug rug. Now, I actually designed this cupcake applique just for you guys and for this tutorial. So I'll include a direct link under this video in the description box where you can click on it, and it's just one sheet to print out, and it'll have the 3 templates that you'll need to trace so that you can also make this cupcake applique. Now let's start with the supplies and the materials that we'll need, and we'll jump right into making our mug rug. So the first thing you're going to do is print out your template that has the 3 pieces for the cupcake, and then pick out from your stash any scraps that you want to coordinate to make up your cupcake. For the solid pieces here, I have the white a little bit smaller than the blue one here, and you can switch up these measurements any way you want. This is just what I'm going with here. Then you're going to need a backing piece that's going to measure. Once you have the front of your mug rug, the backing needs to be the exact same size. So if you want, you can go a little bit bigger than this, and we'll just trim it down when we get to that point. Then to create our applique of the cupcake, we need some Wonder Under, the Pellon Wonder Under, and this is the regular weight one, which I usually use, but they also sell it in a roll like this, and it's the heavy duty Wonder Under. Basically, it's just paper-backed fusible web, and it allows us to make this fusible applique pieces. Aside from that, we need something to put on the inside of our mug rug. If you've watched some of my other tutorials, you see that recently I've liked to use this fusible fleece stuff, especially for smaller projects. It has adhesive on one side, and it's nice and soft on the other, and all you got to do is put it on the back of your project and hit it with an iron. You also have the option of just using regular batting for your filler as well. So let's start. You're going to take your 2 pieces of fabric here, pretty sides touching, and a 1/4 inch seam right down the center. Once you have that, make sure you press it with your iron, and in this case I made sure to press the seam towards the darker fabric so it won't show up on the white side. Okay, and now what you need to do is cut out a piece of either your fusible fleece or your batting. And here, it doesn't have to be exact. You can go a little bit bigger. You want to make sure that you have the fusible side of the fusible fleece facing up towards the back side of our fabric here. We're going to follow manufacturer's instructions and fuse it down with our iron. You can see that that fusible fleece holds on really well. So now I'm just going to trim it around so that the fusible fleece is flush with our fabric edges. Now I'm going to set that aside and start working on our next thing. We're going to take our template pieces here and take out a piece of the paperback fusible web. I'm using the Pellon Wonder Under. You just need to cut out a piece that is big enough to cover all 3 template pieces. So I'm going to put this with the printed side up, and then I'm going to lay my paperback fusible web with the adhesive side down so that I have the paper side facing up. Then take some kind of marking device and you're simply going to trace it. Now, one thing to note when you're doing fusible applique technique is that your design pieces need to be mirror imaged, okay, or backwards. In my case, since these pieces are symmetrical on both sides, it's not important here because it's still going to turn out. I can remove my printed piece from underneath. I like to take my paper scissors now and just roughly trim around each of these pieces. Now with our 3 template pieces cut out, we can grab our scraps to make up our little cupcake applique here. I'm going to start off with the bottom part of my cupcake, which I want this pretty fabric, pretty side down so that the ugly side is facing up, and then I put the adhesive side down of my Wonder Under on top. So the same side that you wrote on is the side that you're going to iron on. You're going to repeat the same process for your other template pieces, always making sure you're putting the adhesive of the Wonder Under towards the ugly side of the fabric. Once you fuse that down based on the manufacturer's instructions, you're going to then take your scissors and cut each of your pieces out. Now, I don't throw away these scraps because they work out perfectly for small little pieces like this. I simply sort them by color and I'll keep them in my stash. To create the applique, I'm going to lay my pieces here just to give myself an idea of how it's going to look once it's fully fused down. You can measure if you'd like, but this is such a small project, I'm just going to eyeball it and it'll work out fine. So that's how it's going to look, and all you need to do now is actually start peeling the paper backing off of each one of these pieces and take your time. If you see that it's not fully adhered, go ahead and hit it with your iron again and then let it cool before you try to take off the paper again. Make sure you remember to keep it at least a 1/4 inch inside from those seams because that's going to be taken up in your seam allowances. So give yourself plenty of space, and you want to overlap the top frosting part of the cupcake to cover up that top edge of the bottom piece. Place the little heart embellishment wherever you want it. Now we can take it to our ironing board and press it. So here's what it looks like when it's all fused into place. Now what we need to do is secure this in place with some machine applique stitches using some of the decorative stitches on the machine. Here I'm using what we call a blanket stitch, and I'll show you in a second what it looks like. You can see there on the frosting part of the cupcake. I've done that already. For the heart, I used a zigzag stitch so it looks a little bit less neat than the blanket stitch, and I did that on purpose to show you guys the difference. So you're just going to go all around the edges and pivot and just take your time going around any curves. And this takes a little practice, but you can do it with a zigzag stitch or a blanket stitch. Anything like that would work fine. Now we just need to put it all together. I've cut out a coordinating or exactly the same size backing piece, and I'm going to put my pieces together with the pretty sides touching. Pin all around, and remember to leave an opening of about 3 to 4 inches so you can flip the whole thing out. Start on one end, back stitch, go all the way around, pivoting on all those corners. When you come again to the other mark, make sure you back stitch as well, and this will leave us an opening there to turn it all out. Once that's sewn up, remember to clip your corners perpendicular to the points, making sure not to cut into those stitching lines. Then you can just turn the whole thing out through the little opening that you've left. I like to poke out the corners by putting my pointer finger in one, and if it doesn't come out completely, feel free to just roll it in your fingertips to get all that fabric to come out from there. And do that to all 4 corners. Now we take it to our ironing board and give it a nice press so we have that side seam going right down the center, and that'll give everything a nice, clean, and professional finish. Now for the opening here, you just need to tuck in each of those in about 1/4 of an inch, the same as your seam allowance, so it can lay as flat and as neatly as you can. You can put some pins there, but I like to just press it with my iron, and then we're going to take a straight stitch and go about 1/8 of an inch away from all the edges, just to top stitch everything down like you see here. And that's it. And now you have a cute little cupcake mug rug. I hope you enjoyed making this tutorial and that you'll give it a try. I'd love to hear where else you plan to use this applique on, because after you print out the template sheet, you can then create this little cupcake and use it to embellish all kinds of projects. Tote bags, pants, little girls' clothes, maybe a pocket for an apron, all kinds of things. So I'd love to hear, once you give this a try, where else you plan to use this cute little cupcake embellishment. If you enjoyed this tutorial, go ahead and hit it with a thumbs up, and feel free to share it with your friends as well. And once you give the mug rug a try, remember to take some pics and upload them to my Facebook page, because I love to see what you're making from my tutorials. And if you're wondering about the t-shirt that I'm wearing, I'm excited to tell you that I'm a new instructor over at craftsy.com. I'm teaching a sewing class there called Sew Little Nursery Design. It's an online video course that never expires. You can take it anytime you want, anywhere you want. And the projects that I cover there are designed to be for a nursery, but you can really just switch up the fabrics and use them in any room of your house, or even to decorate patio chairs and dining room chairs. Some of the projects I cover are curtains, a valance. I also teach you how to make cushion covers for like a rocking chair seat back and the seat bottom. And then throughout those different projects, I also will teach you different techniques like how to do a blind hem, French seam, how to make your own piping that a lot of you have wondered about, and also a few different types of ruffles and a gorgeous pleated panel. I've included the link underneath this video in the description box below so that you guys can access the course at 50% off the price for being Crafty Gemini viewers. And I hope you guys will check out the course and forward it to any friends you know that may be interested. And then stay tuned for my next video where I'll be announcing a new giveaway where you need to be a registered Sew Little nursery design student in order to enter. And so you don't miss out on any other fun and easy crafting tutorials, remember to subscribe to my channel.